to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back. Once again, I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho, and it is a Tuesday morning. I just got back from my run. It's kind of cloudy. It's kind of overcast out, which I'm not complaining about because we are soon to be up into the high 90s if the weather report is correct. So I will take a little overcast. I will take a little bit of cool weather and not complain about it at all. I had a big permit class on Saturdays, about 20 people there. Everything went well. A lot of good shooters in that class, and there was just a couple things that kind of stood out to me. And I always have my students are always great. Overall, my students are fantastic, and occasionally I get some that they just don't want to listen. And it's not that they're being unsafe, and I've encouraged you guys in this before. I've put out the advice before, but I'm going to do it again. If you go to take a class, if you go and you're paying money to take a class, right? And again, this happened in this class, as it occasionally does, and people weren't being unsafe by any means. But why don't you, if you're there, take instruction. Learn how to take instruction. Show up open-minded. You are paying for the class. If you don't want to, if you're not open to suggestions, if you're not open to someone critiquing, kindly, mind you, by far I'm not rude about it, and I suggest on how to improve and how to do stuff a little different. And if I see something is a little off, I'm doing it because that's what you pay me for, right? That's why I am there, to help you, to show you, to teach you. If you don't want any of that, why spend the money on the class, right? If you think you know it all, why spend money on the class? Be open to instructive criticism. Now, if I walk up to you and I'm going to be a complete a-hole to you, by all means, do what you want to do, but I'm just there to help, man. I just be open-minded when you take a class, when you go to learn, right? You're trying to improve yourself. You're trying to learn. You're trying to be better. It's just a waste of money if you're not going to try the little bits of information and stuff, that I give you. And by God, I'm going to say this again too. If you're shooting and you aren't hitting the bullseye and you're shooting iron sights, unless you know that someone has gone in there and messed with those iron sights and has moved those iron sights, the sights aren't off. It's you. It's you. You're the one that is off. You are the one that is doing something that is incorrect. Okay? I hear this all the time. Well, I just got this gun not too long ago, and it hasn't shot quite right ever since I got it. The few times I've taken it out, and I'm pretty sure that the sights just, the sights haven't been dialed in. The iron sights haven't been dialed in, since I just bought it new. They just haven't been dialed in. I haven't got a chance to do that yet, and that's why this gun is not shooting well. That is not the case, and I try to be delicate, and I try to be nice, and that is not the case. It is you. You are doing something wrong, and let's fix it. Right? I have a lot of people that say, "Well, I'm shooting a high. I'm aiming. My aim point is high right, and I'm doing that, and I'm hitting the bullseye when I do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and compensate for what I think are the sights being off, instead of actually fixing the problem. We do not compensate for off sights, for your limitations, or you're not known. We do not compensate for that in any of my classes. We fix it. We get to the root of the problem and we fix it. And as much as people do not like to hear it, 90% of people's problems, honestly, is the trigger press. They are beating on that trigger like it owes them money. Don't do that. It's all in the trigger press. And I know, if you don't know, you don't know. But it is all in the trigger press. One of the basic, if you you don't even have to take a class to do this. If you want to test your trigger press out, right, and if you want to figure this out on your own, dry fire is a great thing. Go buy yourself a handful of dummy rounds. Go, if it's a 9mm, go to the store. I can go to the store here. I can buy myself 9mm dummy rounds. I can buy 40 cal dummy rounds. I can buy 45 caliber dummy rounds. I can buy 22 long rifle dummy rounds. I can buy 380 dummy rounds. Go buy yourself 5 or 6 of them. They're relatively inexpensive. You can even go onto Amazon and you can order them through Amazon. Go get yourself some, whatever caliber you shoot, right? And then take them. And if you got a magazine, let's say it's a 10-round magazine, take 5 dummy rounds or whatever you have, and take 5 live rounds, put them in your hand, shake up your hand like you're, shaking up dice before you throw it, and then you go ahead and load your magazine. Load your magazine. You can look. It doesn't matter. I mean, don't, whatever. Just load your magazine with the dummy rounds and the live rounds all mixed up. You're not going to remember the exact order, and that's fine. Take a clean target, hang up a clean target, load your gun, and then shoot the gun, right? You shoot it. Nice, slow, aimed fire. Focus on that trigger press, and it's going to either go bang or it's going to go click, meaning that what? If it goes click, that means that you have a dummy round in there. You have a snap cap in there. If it goes bang, that means it was a live round. Obviously, I shouldn't have to lay this out, but I'm just trying to draw this whole picture for you. Now, if it is a dummy round, you're going to see what the gun does. If you are slapping that trigger, what's going to happen is that whole gun is going to move. It's going to dive down. If you're right-handed, it's typically going to dive down and probably slightly to the left. If you're left-handed, it's going to dive down and slightly to the right. And there's different varying degrees with, it could be a lot that it does this and pretty dramatic or very little. But you're going to notice it, and those around you are going to notice it. Keep doing this, because what it's going to do is it's going to force you to focus on that trigger press every time, because you don't know if it's a live round. You don't know if it's a dummy round. So it's going to force you to pay attention and press that trigger every single time. I've been doing this year. I went and got a bunch of these dummy rounds. It's something I've done with myself in the past, but I decided to use it on some students. I've got like the beginners women's group and the men's group. That people are struggling. They're struggling with trigger press. Why? And they're not getting frustrated quite yet, but they're like, okay, we've been doing this for this many months now, and sometimes I'm pretty good, sometimes I'm not, and I tell them it's a trigger press, and they don't always believe me. And so I'm like, hey, do this. Why don't we schedule a time, one-on-one, you and me, or with a friend, whatever, and we schedule it on a night that we're not doing the main class with the group. Come on over. I said, bring 50 rounds, bring 100 rounds, whatever. And they show up, and I explain this whole drill to them. I don't even know what I'm going to call the drill. Bait and switch, I guess. That's what I called it on Facebook, I think, the bait and switch drill. And I hand them 5 dummy rounds, and they do exactly the same thing. They mix them up and load them in their guns. And they do not want me to see that they are doing what? That they are jerking the heck out of that trigger, that they are flinching. So they focus so much on that trigger press that all of a sudden it's like a switch goes on. They go from spraying bullets all over the target to holding really nice tight groups, either right in the center of the bullseye or a group the size of like a 50-cent piece, which is phenomenal for a lot of people. It just happens because I can see if they're jerking the trigger. They can see if they're jerking the trigger. And it takes them from telling me I'm not jerking the trigger to me knowing that they're jerking the trigger, and then to the fact that now I'm going to be able to see it. They're going to prove to me that they weren't. But all of a sudden their shooting gets better, like overnight. It's that simple. It's that simple. The trigger press makes up probably 80 to almost, I'm going to say 90% of your accuracy. Granted, you have to have the sights lined up correctly, right? But you can even have kind of a janky grip on the thing. But if your sights are lined up and your trigger press is on, you're good. You're probably going to hit where you're aiming. I mean, there's a high percentage chance that you're going to hit where you're aiming. It's all about where is that gun barrel pointing at the time you break the shot. So it's all about pressing the trigger without moving the rest of the gun. That's it. It's that easy. It's that simple. So if you are struggling with that, it's a very, I think depending on where you buy them, I think I bought Zoom Cap brand. I don't even have them here in front of me, but they're cheap. I mean, you can get like 5 or 6 of them. I guess maybe they're kind of spinny for about $14. But it's not like you're going to use them once and then put them away. I mean, you can use them for all kinds of things. You can use them for tons of other drills, but I really encourage you to do that, right? I love the Mantis X too, the electronic training aid. I love that as well, and that is fun. But it's $150. If you don't have the $150 to spend on that, go buy yourself a handful of dummy rounds. Mix them up. When you go to the range next time. It's that simple. It's that simple, folks. Focus. Now, here's where it starts to get a little tricky because people go, well, as I'm pressing this trigger, because I tell them to slow down. A lot of times what happens is people focus on where the trigger breaks, where the shot occurs. And that's what leads them to kind of jerking the trigger at the last minute or anticipating for the recoil, because they can do that subconsciously. Like it's a mental block almost. And so one of the things I used to say, and this works for some people it obviously does not, so I've changed it up a little bit, giving people options, is I used to say, place your finger, line your sights, place your finger on the trigger, take up the slack, find the wall, make sure while you're focused on the sights as well, keeping them aligned. When you get to that wall, slowly add pressure till the trigger breaks, which means slowly add pressure till the trigger breaks. And some people, that works great. Some students, they focus too much on where's the trigger going to break, where's it going to break, where's it going to break, and last minute they just flinch, right? So now it's take up the slack, find the wall, and just add pressure, the entire time, just moving your finger continuously, moving your finger. When I have Magnum help me out in class, he likes to tell them, you measure a trigger weight in pounds. So, 1 pound or 4 pound, 5 pound, 6 pound trigger. That's how they measure, how much pounds of pressure it takes to take the shot, right? When you get to that wall, just start adding poundage, but you're moving your finger continuously. 1 pound, and just recite in your head, 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pound, and you're not focused on where the trigger breaks. You're focused on just adding steady, continued pressure the entire way and not jerking it at the very end. And it really opens a door for a lot of people, and they start doing really well. Now, slow is smooth is fast. That's what you need to think when you're working with a trigger on your handgun, on your firearm, right? And the fast will come. You got to get it smoothed out. And people start doing this, and they're like, well, this is so slow. This is so slow. So what happens is they're like stuck in that gear. They don't want to shift out. So when we start doing fast stuff, are shooting a little bit faster, they're still slow. That, or they start jerking the crap out of the trigger. So you have to learn, and you have to put the time in and the ammo through your gun, and you have to learn that trigger press, right, to where you can do it, to where you give it quicker pressure, but just enough pressure, you're not jerking that trigger. But you can't just go from first to second gear. You got to work your way up to it, and people need to remember that. You also need to remember that when you start shooting quicker, when you start shooting faster, your body, your brain likes rhythm. Okay, it sounds really weird. I know, sounds like some real yoga-esque, firearms instruction, right? We got some goats running around in here. It says goat hot yoga shooting class, goat hot yoga dry fire class. That could be a thing. It could be a thing. We get a little bit of that could be a thing right there. That's a class. I'm writing that down. We're having that goat hot yoga dry fire class. But anyhow, your body likes rhythm. Your brain likes rhythm, okay? For me, and I know for certain I definitely do. I can see it in myself. I like rhythm, and I like things to be very, very like symmetrical. Like it's kind of a rabbit trail here, but even when I go and I plant my garden, like I have to plant it. I can't let anyone else plant it. Like I have to go out there with a tape measure, and I got to like measure the rows, and they've got to be, I mean, at least they're probably not perfect, but in my brain, I tried. They got to be even, spaced apart evenly. Whenever I go and plant a bunch of trees at my house, I mean, I'm measuring, and they need to be like 15 feet apart or whatever I've decided. And it has to be as even as I can get it. That's just the way I work. So for me, I can see that, but it's true for everybody, right? Whether you see it or not, it's true for everybody. Your brain works well with rhythm. So when you are shooting faster, do it in rhythm, recite it in your head, think about it, bang. And so a lot of times, I teach people, the trigger reset and everything too, right? So, want to take the shot, bang, come to reset, take the shot, bang, come to reset. You can start reciting stuff in your head to make you go a little quicker. Now, you want to push the envelope. So it'd be, bang, 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 or you could just think 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and you're finding reset in between each shot. 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, or 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. And then when you want to speed up, it's like, you can rule out, get rid of the Mississippi, get rid of the 1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as long as you are kind of timed out in this rhythm, your brain will pick up on it, and you will learn to add just enough pressure to take the shot. It's really that simple. It really is. It is really that simple. It's not something you just pick up on. It just happens within minutes, right? You got to work at it a little bit, but it's that simple of a method, simple of an idea, a process, I guess. I don't know the words I'm looking for, but that's the way it works. You work well in rhythm. You want to speed it up, speed up the rhythm in your brain. And whenever you go out and shoot, and whenever you're doing a drill, I've been preaching this a lot lately, right? Imagine as people are thinking outside the box, and they're coming and they're taking a lot more classes, and they're learning how to acquire targets and shoot multiple targets, and how do I get faster, and how do I do this, and how do I get that? Well, I tell them, I say, look, you started with a beginner's class. Now we're on to something else. And what you have to do is you always have to do what? You always have to push the envelope. So I tell them, and this is something, this isn't, someone may have heard this before. It's something I was taught in a firearms instruction class that I took, right? How do you get better? Well, you always push it. So imagine yourself, and I remember the picture the guy drew, right? Imagine yourself, and you're on the edge of a cliff, right? And you want to get as close to that edge of that cliff as you can without falling off. So you want to learn how to shoot faster, right? Or you're multiple targets, trying to figure out how to do that faster. So what you do is you just start going a little faster. But just because you're going faster doesn't mean you can lose all the fundamentals. You got to keep the fundamentals up, right? You got to keep the trigger press and everything. You're just speeding stuff up. So you get as close to the cliff as you possibly can, and try not to fall off. And kind of go in increments. Go a little closer. Okay, I've done this for so many rounds. I'm feeling good. Now I'm going to go a little bit closer. Something kind of messed up. I need to kind of regroup just a little bit. No problem, but I'm still doing it. Go a little bit closer to the edge of the edge of the cliff. You're going to go move a little bit faster. Oh, man, it just all fell apart. I don't know what happened. I'm missing shots. I'm pulling shots. Whatever. It's like my brain got out of rhythm and you fell off the cliff. Okay. Not a problem, because now you have a new norm, and you go back to that new norm and you practice there for a while, day, a week, a month, whatever, however often you're shooting. And then once you pick up where you dropped the ball or fell off the cliff last time, you pick up from there, and then you just keep pushing, and you're going to get a little bit quicker, a little bit better. And that's how you do it. That's how you keep building. But guess what? To do that, you have to keep shooting. You have to take your gun, take your ammo. You have to go to the gravel pits, go to the range. You have to practice. You have to practice, because if you get to a point where you're doing pretty well and then all of a sudden you don't shoot for 6 or 7 months, you're going to have to go and you're going to have to pick it back up again and get back after it, right? Because it wears off. But you should always be striving to do better. But to do better, you got to put in the time. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the effort. You need to go and take the classes. You need to go and train. You need to go and get to the range. I had a whole bunch of people in my permit class come up and talk to me. Todd, how do we get a hold of you? Well, I said, you call me for the permit class. Get a hold of me on that number. I want to sign up for some more classes in the future. I want to learn how to draw my gun and shoot. I want to dial in this. I want to dial in that. And how do I do this? So I talked to him. I told him, and this brings up a whole nother subject, which maybe I'll talk about in a few minutes, how to get a hold of me. Now, maybe half the class approached me, super excited. And maybe I'm a bad business. I won't say I'm a bad instructor. I think I'm a pretty decent instructor, actually. But I might be a bad business person in the fact that I didn't lock them into a class that day. That's just me. I know. Anyhow, but I'm anxious to see now how many of those people are actually going to maintain that momentum and actually get a hold of me and get back on schedule for another class. I bet you only 10% of less than a quarter of the people that talked about it in class that were super excited. I bet you less than a quarter of them call me back. Honestly. If you're going to carry a gun for defense, you need to know how to use it. You need to put in the time. Excuse me. You need to put in the effort, and you need to take classes, and you need to get more proficient. And it's all hard work, man. Nothing happens overnight. That's just the way it is. Nothing happens overnight. Now, one of the main questions in my class was, how do we get into these classes? Do we go to your social media page, Todd? Do we whatever? Or do we go on the internet? Do we go on your website? How do we know when you're doing these big classes? It's like, I don't do these big classes. I don't do group classes. I cannot for the life of me get but if it's not a permit class, I complain about this all the time. I cannot get anyone around here in this area to sign up for a group class. I just can't. I do not know why. Social media, they got their thumb on my posts, reaching people. I used to be able to post all this stuff like on the buy, sell, trade pages. Can't do that anymore because it gets taken down immediately. I do a radio show, right? So I can announce it on the radio show. I talk about it. I put up flyers. I send out emails to email list, all this stuff. And I cannot get people around here to sign up for a group class for anything. But as soon as I get rid of the group class, because no one signs up, it doesn't take, then other people call me and they start setting up, personal classes, which I'm okay with. But when they show this interest of wanting to go sign up for a group class, it's very easy. Get a hold of me, call me, text me. My number is out there. Area code 620-794-6223. Get a hold of me and we'll set up a private class. I will schedule 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. It doesn't matter to me. I will work around people's schedules. That's what I tell them. And I'm very accommodating. Right. And we'll see. I hope that people sign up, and because I feel like I'm getting kind of momentum this year. People are wanting to learn more. They're wanting to go bigger and better. And I've got a few students that I've mentioned all the time, talk about all the time on the podcast, that are scheduling monthly classes, and monthly classes are perfect, man. I mean, honestly, I'm not super expensive. I won't say I'm the cheapest person. Well, I probably am the least expensive person around, right? But I've been doing this long, and I do it because I'm passionate about it. I do need to make money. I would love to be wealthy. That's just the way that goes. But if I'm happy making enough to pay my bills, it is what it is. And buy a little ammo here and there, right? As long as I'm fed, my wife's fed, my kids are fed, and we have our bills paid for, and we have a house to live in, and I can maintain the range. It is what it is. So I don't charge an arm and a leg, and I probably should. But this is a weird area, and like no one will. I love this area, don't get me wrong, but this is a weird area when it comes to that around here, and just people won't pay it, right? But I am having more people sign up for more of these advanced intermediate style classes, and it's very encouraging to me. And this is just a shout out to you. I know most of the people that listen to this, there's a lot of them that do not live here. They cannot come and take classes. Go and search these classes out and put in the time and put in the effort and make it happen for yourself. It's really, it feels great to be able to use your gun and be able to use your gun well. It feels great to go out with the knowledge that you're going to carry this gun, and you're not going to have as many hiccups because you've put in the time, you've learned how to use it, and you can protect yourself and your family. And in my women's group classes, in fact, I had 2 gals come over last night, and I'm kind of taking them each out like privatized type classes, just like I talked about, mixing up the rounds. We did that last night, and they did a fantastic job. And we sat back and we talked a little bit about everything. And they I should have them on the podcast because they really made me feel kind of good. They said, "Hey, look, we were signing up for a class. We were trying not to. We were nervous." She goes, "I was nervous." She goes, "I asked around. Is the class taught by a man?" I mean, they didn't know me, a man, and is he going to be like all tactical? Is he going to be like, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I don't know anything, and they're like, I don't know anything. I'm pretty new to this. I'm nervous, and they're like, no, Todd's not like that. And then they said they came and they signed up for the class, and they've been showing up here every couple weeks now. And they said, you know what? They were right. You're not like that. You are different. And hopefully I make people feel comfortable like that. That makes me happy when I hear that. And I may not ever get rich doing this, right? Well, I know I won't. But as long as I can help people and I can see people grow, that's what's most important to me, because that's what I enjoy doing. They came, they felt very like they'd achieved something really good last night, which they have. They had improved. They'd grown in their shooting abilities, and then I even pulled my AR out, because a couple of them were one of them was brand new to shooting. Like I think the first time she'd ever shot was when she came to take my class starting in February. And she'd never shot an AR before, so she got to shoot the AR last night. I mean, I don't mind doing that, having fun and giving people good experiences and teaching them stuff. It's fun for me. I enjoy that. So that's kind of why I do this. That is exactly why I do this. Now, I had a request the other day, and I'm not going to do it on today's show, but probably in an upcoming show. And it's going to be a repeat show to many of you, possibly. I had a request by a listener who is he's pretty. I think he's a pretty new subscriber to the podcast. He wanted me to go over my origin story about as far as like how did I get into doing this? Why did I get into instructing and teaching and firearms and all this stuff. So I'm not going to go over that today, but that's going to be upcoming. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I've told the story a few times. And if you've taken classes from me, you may or may not have heard it before. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do that again for any new subscribers that might be out there. So I'm just kind of giving you guys a heads up. But tell you what, it is not sunny out right now. It is overcast, and I need to get out and get some chores done before it gets warm. Actually, it is almost July, and I am going to go outside and split firewood because I am so cheap that for wintertime, we just heat with a wood-burning stove. I got a nice big modern house, and people are like, "Oh, your wood-burning stove with your like little house in the." Is it tough over there in Idaho, Todd? I mean, no, it's not. It's just I have a furnace. It's just very inefficient, and I don't want to pay to get it fixed, and so I use wood heat. So that means I have to spend all summer gathering firewood, splitting firewood, cutting firewood, running a chainsaw, running a splitting maul, running a splitter, all that good stuff, and it's just really nice to do it when it's not super hot outside. Now, if I could just fill my life, my business, my range with students every single day, maybe I could fix my furnace. That's it. Sign up for a class. Sign up for a class and help me fix my furnace. That's what needs to be done right there. Sign up for a class and help me fix my furnace. That's good. That should be my new ad. I should run that as an ad. So it's kind of funny. It is kind of funny. So I was just going to talk about something else really quick. Oh, so anyone that's local, I do have my next permit class coming up on July 8th. I'll tell you what, my birthday, I'm getting old. My birthday is on July 7th. It's on July 7th, which would be the day, it would be a Friday. That'd be the day before my next permit class, my Idaho Enhanced Permit class, which is on July 8th. So if you're around here and you need your permit, come sign up for the class. Come take the class and celebrate my birthday with me. Look at that. Here's the thing, folks. Okay, I go out in the mornings and I do my run and I come home and I'm here all day. And if I don't see students, I see students here when they're here, and then I see my family. And I don't really do a heck of a lot of anything. I'll talk to James, Magnum. I'll talk to the Cajun Cowboy occasionally. But if I don't, I just don't see anyone. So I need friends. Make me feel like I've got lots of friends. Sign up for my permit class on July 8th and come celebrate my birthday with me. Not sure that it's going to be any different than any other permit class, but come on, man. Come celebrate my birthday with me on July 8th. Sign up for the permit class. But I do appreciate all the support, and I do appreciate everyone that hangs around, even though I'm not necessarily always do a podcast every single week. I do miss, and I apologize. I tell you what, find us on the social medias. Find me on the Instagram. Find me on the Facebook. If you don't go looking for it, you're not going to see it, because that's just the way the metaverse works. And I even went over to TikTok and checked my TikTok. They haven't been on there for a long time. They took down a bunch more videos. There's legit a video of a bunch of shooting, and they leave that up. But the one video where I zoomed in and it shows the lead, because I cast my own bullets because I reload, shows me dropping a hot lead out of my lead pot. That's it. They took it down because they deem that as an illegal activity. Are you freaking kidding me? Anyhow, go over there and check out all the drama over there. Maybe I'll throw up another video, but follow me on all the social medias, the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook. I would appreciate it. Share it with your family and friends. And I'm not going to ask you to go to Patreon anymore, because I'm really bad about putting stuff up there, and I feel horribly guilty. And yeah, it's still there, but there's nothing on it. Honestly, there's just nothing on it. I mean, there's stuff. I need to get some more stuff up there, but I'm really not going to push that on there. Now, if you just want to go over there anyhow and throw me, I don't know, it's like $5 a month, and throw me $5 a month just for my caffeine fund or my ammo fund, by all means, I'm not going to turn you down, and I'll get some more stuff up there too, but I'm not going to promise anybody anything on that front anymore, because I can't provide. But I will see you guys. What is it? Today is Tuesday. I will try to get something up again this weekend, or just beginning of next week. So until then, everyone have a great week, and we're going into the 4th of July. So get everything ready. In fact, my goal is to get a podcast out before the 4th of July. So everyone, hey, be safe. Visit the range. Spend time with your family and your friends this weekend, and get ready for a nice, safe, and enjoyable 4th. Talk to you later. Bye.